Oh boy, good morning. Had quite a morning, quite a productive morning, I guess. I had some issues with the Vexas design, so it was shorting out or having it was some kind of interference thing. Like, it was super sensitive to any kind of static. And I couldn't quite figure out what was going on with it. So I had some ideas, and I planned them out, and they're set up, and I modified the existing PCBs so that they have that feature on it, and I've been running that, and it's been going great. It's been very resilient. There were just like random instances of either static, or I would plug it in to recharge to the same plugs that I would always plug it into, and as soon as I touched it, as soon as it grounded out to that plug, it would die, or it would reboot rather. And then, when it reboots, you lose everything that you haven't saved until the save to EEPROM. So Vexas was designed for me to have in my pocket, pull out, type stuff in real quick, and then keep going. So it was how I kept track of a lot of things, and long-term and short-term things, and kept track of my time, the passage of time. So putting a lot of information into it, using it a lot, relying on it a lot, especially having multiple timers set up to remind me of things throughout the day, or even for the next few days, and then having it reset and lose all that info, it's very disheartening. And then you're like, why am I even Vexas? Why? Literally. It's great when it's great, but I get really, it's really hard to recover from when it crashes. So, since I've made these modifications to the PCB, I have not had, let's see. No, I don't think I've had any crashes. Yeah, none. That's pretty impressive. Cool. So I go through these phases of like, I'll rely on Vexas for all this stuff, and then Vexas crashes, and I'm like, why am I relying on even computers? Why don't I just go back to paper and set alarms on my watch? And I'm at that Vexas point now, and things are running along smoothly, and I'm like trying to figure stuff out and working time backward, trying to break up my day into sections so that I have more more dedicated attention to individual items. I am notorious for getting sidetracked and popping off to do things real quick, and then as I do them, the complexity increases, or the problem flowers open, and there's even more information to work with. And things where I'm like, hey, I'll be right back. I'm gonna, check this thing real quick, and then I go and check the thing, and then the thing is doing something wholly unexpected. And I'm like, well, that's very strange and troublesome. Let's investigate this while it's right here. And then 2 hours later, the person comes back, and they're like, hey, where are you going real quick? Are you coming back? Oh, right, I was just gonna check on this real quick. Yeah. So having timers to indicate, hey, Troy, you've been working on this for a while. Hey, how long has it been? Just a quick reminder, hey, FYI. Very valuable. So using that, and using some early morning alarms, and there's this time feature where I can step through clock hours, like you're setting a digital watch almost. And I find that I'm using it to work backwards from the amount of time that I need, or from the amount of time, or the time that I want to get to, and the amount of things that I have to do. So I'll like set the clock for noon or something, and say, okay, I want to do this thing at noon. what do I have to do before that? Well, I have to do thing A, and that takes 45 minutes, so subtract 45 minutes. And I have to do thing B, which requires 30 minutes, so subtract 30 minutes off of that. And it steps through time like that, and it makes it very easy to see how much time I have left before I have to start doing the thing in order to achieve that deadline that I want. It's almost like an agenda or a calendar or something. But it's been good. And like this morning I had last night when I was wrapping up before bed, I was like, okay, things I want to do tomorrow, this thing, that thing, the other thing. And like there's a few like little smaller things that I'm like, yeah, you know, I could do that, I guess. And I throw those in there so that when I wake up in the morning, you know, depending on what kind of night I had, I can still look at that and be like, I'm up for this, I'm not up for that. Or I can wake up and be like, oh, I'm just gonna lounge in bed a little bit, this is fine. And then I check my Vexas and it's like, hey, remember all these things you really want to do and would be relatively easy for you to do, and you'll be happy about doing them after you're done doing them? Oh yeah, I do. Thank you. This is all just about augmenting myself, improving on my weaknesses using technology. So it's, I mean, Vexas is Vexas. It's great. And the no-look typing is very valuable, particularly when you're driving or doing something else. Although it is distracting to other people when you maintain eye contact while pulling out a handheld computer and quickly type something, you know, tack into those little tactile buttons, and then put it back in your pocket while maintaining eye contact. You can't break eye contact. It's good. It's not. It's good as a means to an end, and the end is good. The end is me remembering the things that I want to do, or reminding myself of the things that I want to do, and keeping track of time when I tend to lose track of time. It is fantastic to do a bunch of work at work and just be running around cleaning things up and fixing things. And then you're like, oh my goodness, it's probably like 2 in the afternoon, and you look at the clock and it's 11. You're like, wow, I've got a lot more time. I still have time to do all those other things. So it's great. It's brilliant. And then you still get that reminder where you know, I always want to stretch time. I always want to underestimate the amount of time that it's going to take me to do a thing, even though, if I'm honest with myself, like, that's the thing. It's like, let's say I'm optimistic. I'm extremely optimistic about my ability to do things in a certain amount of time. It's like, yeah, I could squeeze that in. I've got time. But Vexas doesn't care. Vexas is a computer. Vexas is very rigid. And my time estimates are very fluid. So to be working on an email and be like, all right, you know, beep, 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 Vexas is going off. Like, hey, time to get ready. It was like, you know, I already did that last night. I could probably skip it this morning. I got time. And then instead of ignoring the alarm, you set the alarm for, you know, 10 minutes in the future. And then you're done with the email pretty much. But, you know, just real quick, make a few tweaks and maybe proofread it again one more time. And beep, 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 beep. Oh, it's already been 10 minutes. Okay, well, I just wanted to tweak this one thing. I could probably, I mean, it'll probably take a couple minutes, you know, not that long at all. So I hit the snooze button, which is, you know, adds 5 minutes to the timer and resets it. And I'll just add this one thing, and that picture could probably be cropped. Let me tweak that real quick. Beep, 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 beep. Go, it's been 5 minutes already. Let's just hit send. We're done. Okay, we need to go. And that would have been, you know, that 15 minutes of time would have wound up being half an hour, and I would have been like, oh, hey, I'm late. So Vexas is doing what Vexas is designed to do. It is according to its namesake, it vexes us. It is an annoyance tool. It will annoy you until you pay attention to the thing that you wanted yourself to pay attention to. So it's a little bit but it is really cool to have a major weakness and to be able to build something and have it address that weakness, have it improve that weakness. You know, if your memory's bad, you can learn to write stuff down. If you lose track of time, you can have a watch to keep track of time. There's options there, and I've used a cell phone for these things, and nothing fit what I wanted it to do. I mean, nothing did exactly what Vexas does. It doesn't have the variable snoozes. It doesn't have the reliability. And at this point, that reliability is really becoming solid. I had a few features. I'm probably going to reboot it to upload some new features. But after that, I'm going to see how long I can go. Once it gets to 600 hours, the long timer resets, and it's how long until it crashes. Like how long can I use it actively throughout the day, and you know, toss it around, and desks and static and room to room, and plug it into this computer and that computer and the other computer. How long can I do that without it crashing, without it running into problems that I need to figure out how to address? So hopefully those problems are with my PCB design and I've addressed them, and hopefully the problems are not with the ESP32 module that I'm using, because that would be a little bit more difficult to address. All right, improve yourself with technology and all that stuff.